is I don't care who you know. It's who knows you.
That's right.
Everybody knows Kelly Schweitzer Davis. Everybody. And it's how it is your brand, it is your husband's brand, it is how you are, and you're in the right rooms. Talk about the power of that, and let us know when you're coming to run for office.
I, you know, thank you, Mike. And I don't take it lightly. And it means a lot to me. And I say that because for us to show up and be known and be heard, for all of us, is walking in our purpose. You're known as my king. You make an impact in the community. You connect people in the community because you are in your purpose.
And you know the purpose part, and a shout out to a good friend,
that matters.
Tiffany Green, and she is the princess of purpose out there.
Oh, yeah.
And
Hey,
so
Tiff.
understanding that idea of it is because I would always say people are scared of nonprofits because nonprofits, all they come to do is begging every single time. And she says to me, Mike, you're out there selling. What are salespeople doing? We're begging for money. And she says, what's the difference? There is no difference. The only thing is, what do you do with the money when you get the money in-house?
Yeah, and how you file those taxes. Other than
that, everybody's doing the same thing.
Other than that, we're all doing the same things. I mean, you know, as the CEO of Davco, I go into the rooms and I'm pitching Davco against the conglomerates, the big companies, and they know who they are, so I'm not going to give them some airtime. But when we show up, we designed the executive coaching for our leaders to see themselves go from a good leader to great leadership.
What is lacking these days that we have so many leaders who are out there? Because people say, you know, middle management is where careers and good ideas go to die. Because good managers are really just trying to hold on to get paid to stay employed. Because they always wonder, am I going to be next?
And I'm going to bridge that for you. I'm going to finish our aspect of purpose. And the purpose with the why is empty. So you can be in your purpose, but you need to know your why. Why, you know, as a nonprofit, we operate 2 nonprofits. As a nonprofit, then why would I sit in this room and beg for some funding? What's the why? My why is there's students that don't have backpacks. There's students that don't have laptops. There's students that don't have access to the internet. There's students that don't know their pathway from high school to either trade school or college. So that's our why, right? So then if we think about the other aspect of our nonprofit is from a ministry standpoint, you know, purpose. We're talking about purpose, and for those of us that are believers, we know that purpose is a relationship with Christ. So that's what that looks like. But what is our why? To be able to reach people and get people to know and learn about Jesus and then make their own decision. So when it comes to Davco, as we've been leading this company for 8 years, our purpose is to develop and cultivate intentional, creative, and innovative leaders. But what is our why? Our why is the gap, is the leadership deficit. People are not showing up to lead other people, and it starts with leading themselves. So when they learn how to lead themselves, identify, you know what, I was in tech and I was great at leading projects. I was a great program manager, but leading people is not my strength. So how can we give them that roadmap and that path and direct them through coaching, leadership programs, and team development to shift them from that? If people is not your thing, let's shift you. And we work with the top leaders in those organizations to help them restructure, to build succession plans. So that's that aspect. And to bridge you to your second point, remind me your second point.
I didn't forgot because I got some. But wait a second.
But no, I remember.
More. Okay, what is it?
So the second point is you made me forget, Mike, because that was good.
Okay, but here, all right. So here, let's talk. And your why. When I met you, we were at the chamber event. How long had you been in Richmond when I met? And that was about 2019 or so.
Yeah, I got here 2020. So we arrived here May of 2020, and you met me July of 2020.
Okay, so we're in September of 2024. 4 short years.
Yes.
A person would say, how do you get to be a go-to person in 4 years? You got to be somewhere your whole life. That's the one. And also people say, I would start a business, boy, but my money is tight. I just don't have the money. Now, you had talked about bootstrapping and taking it from something to nothing. So touch on that.
So 4 years we arrived here in 4 years. So we founded Davco in Colorado in 2016. before the pandemic hit, we were providing hybrid training and development for the whole area of Denver, Colorado, and the chambers across Denver before the pandemic. So when we share that as DAVCO and as a team, we are ahead of the curve, we are. So we teach, we train, and we prepare our leaders to stand strong when those difficulties and challenges arrive. So we started in 2016. We then transitioned and we moved out here due to military transition. And when we moved out here, before I arrived here, I shared this before, I already had connected with Danielle from the chamber because I was relocating and switching my business from Colorado to here. So in the 4 years, we have worked independently with people here that have been running for office. We've worked with people that work for Facebook that are satellite here. We work with people that would, and I don't say just people, but leaders that work with TikTok.
You know the people.
Yeah, that work with TikTok, Chase. In Colorado, we had a relationship with Capital One. There, we conducted a massive seminar that was on how to diversify the boardroom in a way where we're diversifying leadership in thought process and also different cultures and different age groups. So we started, that was in 2017. So when we got here, what we were doing was we were relocating our business and our footprint of what we do as DAVCO, formerly Anchor In Leadership. For those of us that know us as Anchor In.
I knew you was Anchor In.
Yes, and then that's when we got here. So in the last 4 years, what we have done is to continue to do the work that we have done across state lines. We go and we connect with our government officials in the federal and state level. We have the conversations about the need of Latino professional training and access and being able to open those doors, not just necessarily for our immigrants, but also for people that are Latino and that are in the in government, or whether it's state, local, corporate sector, and allowing the blind spots to be uncovered and helping in that and showing the stagnation when it comes to career in different groups. We've worked also with the different aspects of working in different chambers, serving at the chamber as a chair for the Women's Business Council. Now we're members of Chamber RVA, which we are extremely excited as well, and still members of Chesterfield Chamber. We serve out in the community. We are how we say this? How do I share this? Because people ask me all the time, how do I do all this? And it's just what we said earlier, is being in your purpose and your why and being paralleled. So military, business, serving the community, it's something that we have done diligently for 23 years, and it just continues.
There you go. Kelly Davis is here. Really quickly, give us, and I always ask you this, touch on the Spanish community. Talk a little bit about the opportunities or letting our Latino folks know what's happening and what you guys are doing, because they do listen to the program and we do promote it, as well as some purpose. Give us some Spanglish, ma'am.
So some Spanglish. Before I do that, and you know what, we're going to talk about the Latino community, but let's not, and also connecting with the other communities and the aspect of bootstrapping. Because we were talking about leadership and also entrepreneurship and knowing our strengths as entrepreneurs and our purpose and our why. So for us, we started our business, no funding. We started it as self-funded. The first business that we stepped out and started in 2010, we did that with $500. We started online. We had a high-end boutique that, when I say we, I'm talking about Charles and I. So we had a high-end boutique.
It's just something about screaming high-end boutique when I look at him.
And we went, yes. And as we're talking about high-end boutique, Fashion Week is happening right now in New York. And, we had the opportunity to design and also accessorize models when we owned that company. So we were in New York, Fashion Week, all across the country, and it was the best thing ever. And we had fun. But we took that with $500. We started it. We then scaled it to 6 figures. We had our own brick and mortar. Shout out to my people out in El Paso, Texas. That's where we had our brick and mortar. We were we were there on Univision and different outlets. And the same thing you see us do here, we did there. We were part of the chamber, part of the junior league. So that's our footprint. And to be able to scale it, we cannot be afraid of asking for help and partnering with people and selling So you're selling, whether you have a nonprofit or a for-profit, you're selling.
You're selling.
And your word is what you're selling before you even sell a product or a service.
There is a brand and a buzz when you come into a room. There is. And I know because I see you created a buzz the other day in Colonial Heights.
That was the best. Oh my gosh. I was so glad that I went to it. I was so glad because I missed it. I missed being in the midst of it. I missed it.
That is.
In Colonial Heights. And yes,
We had a good time.
Thank you for that.
Thank you to my partner, Joanna Smith. She's the one who
It was
orchestrates some of the
She
craziness
was
that
awesome.
I think. Okay, real quickly.
So let's go ahead.
Okay, let's go hit it, man.
So
1 second.
Let me share this. Let's go.
Okay, when Kelly Swazo Davis, 1 second. We spared no expense, ladies and gentlemen.
So I want to share this with you.
Yes.
I'm going to leave this, and the tail end of it is the Latino community.
Okay.
And across all of our communities. And I say that because unless we don't come together, we are not going to see success as a community. All of us that make up this RVA region and beyond. So as you know, Mike, I do not stay stagnant. I'm not only here.
No, you're
I'm up in DC.
I never
I'm
know.
in California.
You and your husband do not travel together. I think there may be something. You guys meet up at the location. I don't care where it is. Brunswick, Richmond. When
divide and conquer.
Kelly's coming 1 second, she'll be here. Here's Charles. But you guys know, if she's leaving, he's staying, you're leaving.
Yeah, it's divide and conquer. Like right now, this morning he woke up at Old Dark 30, worked on Dovco, and right now he's serving as in destination out in Hopewell. So you divide and conquer, and that's what you do, especially when you're called and you're purposed. So for the leaders, let me tell you this. Great leadership is not about outcomes. Great leadership is about being able to set the conditions and creating the conditions where success happens. So that's for you and for everyone around you, for the companies that you lead. That is what will remove those blind spots. Trust me on that. To the Latino community, make yourself heard. Be you, be loud, be bold. Be intellectual because you are. There is an aspect of Latinos that is just not, I shared this with you earlier, and I'm going to say it on air, it's not popular opinion. There's more to us than the immigrants that we have within our regions. My parents came legally to the United States as immigrants. My dad was an entrepreneur for 50-something years.
You told me. He was outright, my father was one, he was a hustler. And just making a way.
Making a way. My aunts are in New York, and they're chemical engineers, mechanical engineers. My uncles are doctors. I also have military within my family and that structure. So when you see us as Latinos, we are more than the immigrant spectrum.
Yeah. So you were holding down the civil service side while your husband's holding down the Army side.
The Army side.
It doesn't get any more American than that.
And that's what it is.
That's what it is.
And as Americans, we have a responsibility to continue to lead the charge. And I'm going to look into the camera and I'm going to say something that is not very popular. I need y'all people to get up and go to work.
You
need to go to work. When we talk about the race gap, when we talk about the women in leadership gap, when we talk about the corporate gap, that gap, it's only getting larger and larger because we're not in the workplace and we're not making our mark and we're not operating in our purpose. So I need y'all to get back to work, go into that workplace and make yourself known according to your purpose and your skill set, because all we're doing is making the gap and enlarging that gap every day by not showing up. Exiting the marketplace, we're just providing opportunity to stay out of rooms that we need to be in.
Being in rooms, very important.
It's very important.
That's right. If you're looking in from the outside, it doesn't look good. You don't know what they're saying inside.
You don't have the slightest idea.
Nope.